Welcome back to this series on building a full stack application with React and FastAPI. In the previous episode, we added login functionality and JWT token storage. Now we'll enforce authorization in our app. Certain pages would only be accessible to logged in users. By the end of this episode, we'll have protected routes that prevent unauthorized access. Before we get started, we need to make a quick update to our employee API module and the fetch employees function. Specifically, we're going to change the endpoint from sales to sales version 2. In our FastAPI backend, the version 2 endpoint is protected. That means it requires a JWT token to be included in the authorization header of the request before the API will return any data. To see the difference, if we open our browser and navigates to the sales endpoint, the API returns the employee data as JSON because that endpoint is public. But if we try to access the sales version 2 directly, you will see that we get a not authenticated response. That's because the browser request isn't sending the required JWT token. This is exactly the behavior we want. In this episode, we're building protected routes in our reaction application. When a logged in user navigates to the dashboard, our app will call the protected API endpoint and include the user's JWT token in the request header. That ensures only authenticated users can retrieve the employee data. Even if someone tries to bypass the login page and tries to access the employee's sales data, they won't be able to because it is also protected on the back end. Now let's get started with protecting our routes. If we go to app.txx, and currently, once a user logs in, they can access everything. In real application, we need to restrict access to certain pages based on authentication. This prevents unauthorized users from seeing sensitive data. So to begin, we're going to install a tool called React Router, and this router allows us to define multiple pages in our app. We'll use it to set up routes and guard them based on the presence of our JWT token. To install the router, we'll go to Terminal and then use the npm install command. And the name of the router is React-router-dome at 6. Then we'll hit enter to install. Now that it's done installing, we'll create routes and pages. Let's start by creating the pages. So let's create a new folder called pages. And then we'll go inside of the folder and create a couple of files. First file we'll use the touch command, is home.tsx. This will create an empty file for us, and then we'll put some code into that in a second. Let's create another one while we're here called dashboard.tsx. And let's go and put some HTML code inside each of these files. So if we go to our new folder here, pages, let's go to the home.css and let's put something in there for now. And here is the code for the home page. Let's take a minute to go over it. This is where every user begins. One import sets the tone. Navigation without reloads. The component expects a single input, a token. Either you are authenticated or you're not. This function is more than a page, it's a gatekeeper. Everyone sees the same welcome page, but what comes next depends on one condition. One line splits the entire experience in two. If the token exists, the system responds instantly. The user is recognized and guided forward deeper into the app. But if the token is missing, the system doesn't break, it redirects back to where the journey begins. All powered by client-side routing. Fast, seamless, uninterrupted. This isn't just a home page, it's a decision engine. One variable controls the entire user journey. And here is the code for the dashboard page. Let's take a moment to go over it. Once authenticated, the user arrives here. This component doesn't just display data, it controls movement. And everything it shows is strongly typed. It receives two inputs, a list of employees and a possible failure state. This is the control room of the application. With direct access to navigation, the component can redirect the user at any moment. Logging out isn't just a button, it actively removes authentication and immediately reroutes the user. The interface is simple but intentional. A clear focus, data. If something goes wrong, the system surfaces it immediately. Then comes the core of the component. Structured data, clean and readable. Each employee dynamically rendered. ID, name, and total sales pull directly from state. And when the session ends, one click resets everything. This isn't just a dashboard, it's where data meets control. Now let's create our protected route component. I've created a file called ProtectedRoute.tsx under the components folder. And here is the code for our protected route. Every serious application needs protection. Not everything should be public. Some routes are meant only for authenticated users. This component is your gatekeeper. We begin by importing two things, GXX for React and navigate from React Router. This tells us something important. This component isn't just UI, it controls access. We define an interface token, either a string or nothing at all, children, the protected UI we want to render. Think of this like a rule. If you want to pass through, show your credentials. Now in a function, this is not just a component, it's a checkpoint. It receives the user's token and the content they're trying to access. Now here's the moment that matters. If there's no token, the user is immediately redirected to the login page. The replace flag ensures they can't go back. This is intentional. No tokens means no access, no history, no loopholes. If the token exists, the gate opens. The component simply returns the children. The protected content renders like nothing ever happened. Clean, invisible, and secure. This pattern, powerful, very powerful because it separates security from UI. You don't clutter your pages with authentication checks. You wrap them once and the gatekeeper handles the rest. Now, let's take a look at the updates to our login.tsx file. Let's switch to that file. Now, every app has a front door. This is yours. The login screen isn't just a form. It's a conversation between the user and your backend. We begin by creating state, username, what the user types, password, kept hidden but tracked, error, silent until something goes wrong. This is the UI's memory. Every keystroke updates it, every mistake reveals it. We bring in use navigate. This is subtitle but powerful. Because after login succeeds, we don't just render something new. We move the user forward in the app. The component receives one prop on login. This is the handshake. If I successfully authenticate, I'll give you the token. The component doesn't store global state itself, it reports upwards. Clean separation. The user clicks login, handle submit, takes control. First move, prevent default, to stop the browsers from reloading. Set error, clear past failures. We're starting fresh. Instead of JSON, we use URL search params. Why? Because many auth systems, especially OAuth style backends, expect data in this format. We append username, password. Now the request is ready. A fetch request is sent to the Vite API URL, login endpoint, and this is important. The front end doesn't hardcode environment, it reads from environment variables. That means dev, staging, production, all handled cleanly. We check the response. If it's not okay, we throw an error immediately. No guessing, no silent failures. If successful, we extract access token from the response. This is the key. Then on login token, we pass it up to the app. Navigate / dashboard, we move forward. The user is now authenticated. No reload, no delay, just transition. If anything fails, we catch it and here the details that matters. If it's a real error, we show the message. Otherwise, we fall back to the safe default. This avoids crashing the UI while still giving a feedback. Now we render a simple header, an error message only if it exists, a form with control inputs. Each input is tied directly to state. This means React always know what the user typed. The UI is always in sync. This component does three things perfectly: captures user input, communicates with the backend, and controls app flow after authentication. No extra complexity, no non-necessary abstractions. Now let's take a look at the updates for the app.txt file. Let's switch to that file. Every app has a center, a place where decisions are made. Routing, state, authentication. This file is that center. We start by importing the core pieces: routing from React Router, state management from React, pages and components, and API logic. This is your system map. Everything connects here. At the heart of the app, three pieces of state: token, which handles authentication, employees, your data, and then error for failure handling. But look closely at token. It's not just initialized as null. It comes from local storage.getItem. This is where things gets real. Local storage is a browser built-in storage system. It allows your app to remember data even after refresh. So instead of losing authentication on reload, the app checks, do I really have a token? If yes, the user stays logged in. No extra login, no friction. Here's the subtle design. React state control the UI. Local storage ensures persistence. When the app starts, React pulls from local storage, hydrates states. When login happens, React updates states and saves to local storage. Two systems, one source of truth. Now we introduce useEffect. This runs when token changes. And there's a guard. If no token, do nothing. But if a token exists, we fetch employee data. The function load employees calls your API with the token, stores the result in a state, and handles failure gracefully. This is important. Data is only fetched when authenticated. No token equals no request. Security by design. Now the bridge. Handle login. When the user logs in, set token updates React state. Local storage set item persists it. This is the moment your app becomes a stateful across sessions. Now we define the experience. The backslash is the public home, and the backslash login is the entry point, and the backslash dashboard is the protected content. But here's the key. The dashboard is wrapped in ProtectedRoute. When a user tries to access backslash dashboard, if token exists, it renders dashboard. If not, it redirects to login. This creates a clean separation. Routing handles navigation. ProtectedRoute handles access. When access is granted, we pass employees, which is the data, and error, which is the fallback messaging. The dashboard doesn't fetch data itself, it just displays what it's given. That's intentional. This file brings everything together: authentication, persistence, data fetching, routing, access control. and it does it without chaos. Now it's time to test the app. So let's go to terminal, open a new terminal, and then we'll run the npm run dev command. And as you can see, it's running on localhost 5173. So if we pull up a browser, and we'll take a look and see what our app looks like. So at our browser, if we go to localhost, first thing we'll see is welcome to the employee portal. And because we're not logged in, we are prompted to go to the login if we want to see the dashboard. So clicking on this link here will take us to our login page. That's where we can enter our fake backend credential of admin, password admin123, and we'll click on login, and then we'll see our employee sales dashboard, as well as a button to log out. Now, let's say we wanted to go to just home. And what we will see is that when we get to home, it says that we are already logged in, and we can just go to the dashboard because our token is persisted. We don't need to log in anymore at this point. So if we go to dashboard, we should get the employee sales dashboard with the data, the protected data. And then if we click log out, now we're logged out. We just killed our token. So if we try to do home again, you'll see that it's prompting us to go to the login if we want to see the dashboard. And then go to the login, will take us to the login page. And even if we try to go to the dashboard directly, you can see it'll reroute us to the login page. And the only way we're able to access it at this point is through the login page. If we put in our fake credentials again, click login. Now we should be able to see our employee sales dashboard with the data. So in general, dashboard is protected by the ProtectedRoute component. The home remains public, and the login only appears when no token exists. This ensures our application enforces proper access control. Now let's return back to our code and commit those changes to GitHub. So let's go here. Let's add a message. Add protected routes with React Router and force JWT access control. Then we'll commit. Save all changes and commit. And then we'll sync the changes. And this should commit all our changes to GitHub. Protected routes prevent unauthorized access and keep sensitive data secure. By centralizing authorization checks in a single component, we maintain a clean, scalable code. This pattern is essential as we continue to add more secured pages and authentication features. In this episode, we implemented protected routes for our dashboard. Next, we'll handle API errors like 401s and 403s and manage token expiration gracefully. This makes our app more robust and production ready. And as always, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel and like our videos so we can keep bringing you more and so you don't miss out on any of our latest content.